Google Drive is a file storage and synchronization service developed by Google. It can be very helpful within the framework of a project to store files in the cloud and share them with partners. To get started with Google Drive, we need to go to drive.google.com. If you already have a Google account that you would like to use with Drive, you just have to log in with that account. If you don't already have one, or you want to create a new account to use with Drive, you can create one. Once you have a Google account created, and go to drive.google.com and you log in, you put your password, this is what your screen is going to look like. The My Drive section is where all the documents that you upload to Google Drive will be stored, as well as any document that you create with Google Drive. Then you have the Shared with Me link. This is where documents that other people share with you are going to go initially. By default, documents that are shared with you do not go to My Drive right away. If you want to bring them to My Drive section, you click on a file and you drag it to My Drive section. If I click on My Drive, I now see the files there. I can now edit the file from either of these two locations, and it's going to make the changes on both of the files, which is actually the same file but located in two different places. The next section down is the Recent section. This is going to list all of your documents by the ones that were modified last. You might have hundreds of documents in Google Drive, but only a few of them that you are actively editing. So if you are going to the Recent section, you can usually quickly find what you're looking for. The Google Photos section is where you can store all of your photos that you can take with any device you want to connect to Google Drive. The Start section is a place to quickly access the files to which we give a start. If I right click on a file, I have several options. One of these options is the star option, the add star option. I can mark this document, then now you can see in the start documents. This is a useful way to quickly access files. Trash is where your documents will go when you delete them. They stay in there for 30 days, after which time they will be permanently deleted. Backups is where any backups will go if you are backing up your Android device using Google Drive in this particular Google account. You can also see how much storage you have and how much you are using it. Free Google accounts come with 15 gigabytes available, which include Drive, Gmail, and Google Photos. If you're just using documents that are not large in size, that means no HD photos or videos, for instance, 15 gigabytes should be plenty of space. There are always options to upgrade your storage by paying a monthly subscriptions, as you can see here. To add files to Google Drive, we can click on the new button at the top left corner. And we have different options on how we want to add files. We can upload files and folders, or we can create new documents within Google Drive. We can create a new Google Doc, which is like a Word document, a Google Sheet, kind of like Excel, Google Slides, which is a presentation document like PowerPoint, and if we click on more, we have other options. There is Google Forms, Google Drawings, you can create your own maps, and then Google Sites. You can upload any file you like to Google Drive, not only word processing documents, but also images, videos, exec programs, whatever you need to store on the cloud. When you click on File Upload, a box pops up, which allows you to select the file you want to upload. You can click on a file and click open. Here on the bottom right it says it's uploading. Once it's complete, here is the file that you uploaded. You can click on it to preview it. Now what you can do is to log in with another computer, right click on these files and download it. It is an easy way to transfer files. You can store them in the cloud and access them from everywhere you have an internet connection. On the top right, you can change your view. You can change it to grid view, for instance, or back to list view. And you have other options. If you click on this I button, it will show you details of whatever you're looking at. If you're looking at my drive folder, this shows you all the details and activities of my drive as a whole. Activities tells you, for instance, that you uploaded an item. If you click on a specific file, you can see the activity that specifically has to do with it. If you click on details, you have a preview of the file. You can see whether or not it is shared, what type of file it is, the size, all of the details related to the specific file. The other button we have at the top right is the settings button. This is where we can go into our Google Drive settings. You can change your language, the density of your view. You can manage notification and manage apps. You can also download Drive, the local version of Google Drive, an application that will be stored on your computer. It can be useful to download Drive if you intend to use documents offline. You can have a sync with the cloud version of Google Drive, and if you, for instance, traveling somewhere where you don't have internet connection, you'll still be able to modify documents, and then when you get an internet connection, it will resync your changes with your cloud account of Google Drive. When I click on a file, I also have a number of other options that will appear here at the top of my screen. First button allows me to get a shareable link to a file. If I click on that button, it changes the setting of that file. It turns the link sharing on, which means that anybody with this particular link can access the file. If you have a file that does not have any confidential information in it, you just want somebody to be able to view it, you can just turn link sharing on, copy this link, and then you can send it to somebody by email, WhatsApp, Messenger, or whatever other tool you want to use. The second button we have is the share button. When we click on this button, a window appears, and we now have the option to share this file with whoever we'd like to share with. We can add an email address, and here on the right we have the option on the kind of permission we would like to give. We can give edit permission, which means they can make changes to the document and share with other people. We can give them comment permission, which means they cannot make changes within the body of the document, but they can add comments. We can also just give them the view permission, which means they will be able to view the document, but they won't be able to make changes and they won't be able to make comments on it. You can also add a note here so that people know why you are sharing the file. You can also click on the advanced button here. Mainly what we can change is the privacy of the file. Right now it is set to private, but I can change it to make it public. link sharing is this option right here. This means they need the link, or it can be completely public on the web, which means they can even search for the file. If you know with whom you want to share the file, just keep the link sharing off, and then share with specific people by adding their email addresses here. And when we're ready, we can just click on send. You might want to sort your files by creating folders. To create a folder in my drive, click on the New button and click on Folder. You can give a name to your folder, like for instance Project. We create a folder named Project, and now on the left side of my screen I now have a folder that is nested within the My Drive folder, and I also see it on the right side of my screen. So I can just take the files that I like to put in there and drag them into that folder. Now when I click on the project folder, here we find that particular file. That's a good way to organize your files. Google is also known for its search capabilities. And notice that there's a search bar up here that we can use to search for files and folders. You can type here the name of the file you are looking for, and you'll get the list of files or folders that have the specific word you've looked for in the name. You can notice also that when you first click in the search area, we can also just search for specific types of documents. If I want to see all my text documents, for instance, I can just click on text documents and they all appear. Those are the main features of using Google Drive. I hope you found this video helpful.